Welcome back to another episode on the Lunar Nation podcast, everyone. This is your host, Franz, and I'm joined by my fellow co hosts, Sagun and Arrow. Today, we are going to be discussing immortality, the possibility of living forever, and is that something that we want as humans? If you're a human, you're going to die eventually. This isn't the most comforting thought, but death is the inevitable price we must pay for being alive. Humans are, however, getting better at pushing back our expiration date. As our medicines and technologies advance, our lifespan has drastically increased. If the human lifespan continues to stretch, could we one day become immortal? The answer depends on what you think it means to be an immortal human. As of now, there isn't any cure or set plan for humans to live forever, but there are several companies that are working on ways to extend life, whether it's through biohacking, slow aging, anti aging, and more. It seems as humans continue to become further advanced that we strive for more, and topics such as immortality and increasing our lifespan are what some people are searching for. So I wanted to talk with our fellow co-hosts Sagun and Arrow and their opinion on immortality and what their thoughts are. Is this something that you guys foresee in the near future, or is it even possible for mankind to even achieve full immortality, some sort of immortality, or whatnot? What are your guys' thoughts?
For me personally, I do think immortality will come in the future just because of all these medical advances that we've had. I just feel like by the time maybe my estimate is probably 40, 50 years, I think we'll reach to the point where you have like basically all these like cells that are regenerating and you can have those repairs of those cells. So I feel like the thought of immortality right now kind of sounds, stupid, but by then I think it'll be actually like normal to a point that people can just as you like see in movies, they can like regenerate their arms, or they can regenerate their heart and all that stuff. So I actually do believe in it.
Okay, cool. So I mean, in your opinion, would that? I mean, that would be some sort of immortality. I mean, it would be like kind of expanding your life. It wouldn't be like full immortality. I mean,
um
the stem cells would be to helping make you feel a lot better or healthier, but it wouldn't be like you'd be living on forever, right?
Oh, but the thing is, I want to add is that let's say like you could replace your heart, right? I mean, your heart is like your central thing to keep you alive, or your brain. That does extend your life to a point where imagine you have these, cells working for you, right? And like let's say you have a problem with your heart or something like that,
Mm,
it'll instantly repair it, and then over time you have another problem. It's like taking your car to like a mechanic or something like that.
right,
I know.
right. It's like getting a rebuilt engine. Basically, if the
Yeah,
engine
it's
dies, you get like
basically
a rebuilt
getting a
engine.
rebuilt engine over and over and over again to the
I
point
see.
where you're just gonna like keep rebuilding and
I
you're just
see.
gonna keep generating. So that's what I think personally.
Okay, sounds good, Sagun. Yeah, I appreciate your thoughts. What about you, Ariel? Arrow? What are you thinking? Like, do you think that, as far as humans, we're just gonna like keep increasing our lifespan slowly, slowly until we like reach like a plateau or like a capping point, or do you think that humans might be able to reach some sort of immortality?
Okay, so here's the thing about immortality. I'm not really sure if humans, maybe even in 1,000 years, will reach that level. But what I believe would happen is, in general, human would find a way to age slower, meaning like their bodies, like the freckles, all of that. We won't have it as quickly, so they might be able to prolong that. I'm not necessarily saying we might live 300 years. We might live the same amount of time, but we'll look a lot better. For example, one of the what's unique about mortality is a while back. Actually, this goes back to ancient China. The first emperor of China at that time, Qin Shi Huang. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm not even sure, but he was born in 259 BC, and his whole goal at the time was like basically conquering all six warring states of China. And when he conquered all of them, his next goal was to live forever. So he did send like emissaries and all these like different leaderships to look for such a potion.
Like
And
basically the fountain of youth.
yeah, and
Exactly.
you know what's unique? I don't think anybody knows about the emperor, but most people might know about the terracotta army. So that's basically, the 8,000
Like
statues of
statues of the
soldiers.
soldiers, yeah, that were hidden
Yeah,
away.
yeah, which was basically discovered by accident, well, by Chinese farmers who were looking to farm. And the person who was buried there was Emperor Qin, and Qin is like Chen. I'm sorry, Chen. And then if you look at Chen, it's China. He's the first emperor to um, unify China, and that's where originally the name of the China comes from. Uh, that's what I believe. I hope don't get me as a factual, or that's just based what I know. Um, and then he was like looking for a potion to live forever at that time, and I think one of his emissaries came back saying that if he drinks mercury, it would actually prolong his life. For some odd reason, I think mercury, there were some elements into it that they believed that it'll make you live forever. But in fact, it did the opposite. It made him more hallucinate, because mercury is not really good for your body. It creates
Oh yeah, I
dilemmas.
mean,
Definitely not. I
enough of
mean,
it will kill you
it'll
for
kill
sure.
you.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
for sure. So that's what happened to him. He died. But for him, I guess at that point, he when he died, he realized he's gonna die. So for him, the immortality was a life after death with his army. So he carried his army. I mean, not his actual army. It's the terracotta clay soldiers, that they were real life size made soldiers, and every one of them was different shaped, and obviously different swords, different rankings, in order for him to be comfortable in the afterlife. Uh, so I mean, I think this whole immortality quest has always been in the human mind from the very get go. But the only records that I think we have is from Emperor Quinn. I'm sure there are other records, but I definitely tell you what, if we ever figure out the key to living, I don't know, 200 plus years, that's going to be a multi quadrillion dollar industry. And
Yeah,
it will
then
only be reserved for certain members of society.
exactly.
yeah,
Let's
for
say if
sure.
Arrow finds out the multi-million dollar idea, then Arrow is going to be really really famous and live off. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, imagine, think about it. Like, I don't think people like would really care more about immortality. I think people will first care about aging. If you can slow down the process of aging, for example, like let's say you're 80 years old and you have black hair, you're still like, you look like, I don't know, you're still in your 20s. That's already an industry on its own. I think immortality will be after that, but I think the first priority for everybody will be like figure out how can we not age, because the more you age, the so your body cells deteriorate over time, and
You
you get
basically
like all the,
become brittle. You
yeah,
become
you get
brittle.
like
You can,
osteoporosis, your height
yeah.
decreases, your bone structure weakens. I mean, I could name you a lot of people that I've looked at through, like, some of these major bodybuilders. I think one of them. I mean, look at the years down, like just the years has taken these people, like bodies deteriorated. And if we could figure out to slow down that process, that would be like a really good thing. But I don't know. I think Sagun, or Franz, about that science research that's going on.
Yeah, yeah. I think actually Sagun probably knows a little bit more. I actually just wanted to. I found both your opinions very interesting. So it seems like Sagun was more on the immortality side, where he believes that science will probably make humans live a lot longer, if not be fully immortal. And then contrary to that, Arrow's thought was more about living, even if you live to the your 100 years, or let's say even if you live up to 200 years, but the fact that when you age, you become more brittle, your body starts to deteriorate, and you're more prone to disease. If you're able to figure out, or companies are able to figure out a way that you're able to stop this disease, or this, a wrinkling of your skin, and you're able to take on a more youthful appearance, people would probably like that a lot more often. Because I mean, think about it this way: what you do now in your 20s and 30s, you're not going to be able to do in your 70s and 80s, just because your body won't able to
facts.
handle that type of stress. So I think you guys made some great points on that. I know Sagun wanted to discuss more of like some of the technologies that are coming up, or some of these supposedly, I'm not, again, this is like nothing proven yet, but they're supposed to be in the near future. It's supposed to help people with extending their life and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I
it's a
just
good, it's a good, it's a good. Hold on, I have something interesting to say before you say the. You know how there's the old saying, when you're young you chase money, and when you're old you chase life. So so in that case scenario, when you age slowly, you're not really old. So you're not, I guess the thought process of you chasing money will eventually die, and you'll chase life. But at that point, you're actually enjoying life because you're in top notch shape.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
no,
I like that.
that is a good point as
Beautiful,
well.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful, Mr. I want to add a point. So what I was about to say is there is this technique that is supposed to be used in this future called synchronics. And basically what it is you basically have your brain or your other organs, and then you freeze it up. So think about, like, how you have like movies, like, like, or TV shows, like, Avatar. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's like
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
he was frozen for so many years, and all of a sudden after he was unfrozen, he's still young.
Yeah, well,
Um,
that's like cryo sleep, right? Cryogenics or whatever it's called,
yeah,
where they
exactly.
like freeze your body and then like
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
in your body
That's
freezes and doesn't
yeah,
age.
exactly, exactly. So that's kind of the point. Yeah, like it's basically like Airbender, Aang the Airbender. So that's what they're thinking, that people it'll happen in the future, where you just like keep their body in that state to the point where like you keep it for like hundreds and hundreds of years, and then after that you I guess unfreeze it. I mean, there hasn't been actual like proven like theory to this, but to actually unfreeze it, and then your body just comes back normal, and then yeah, you're just there, you're just like what you were in that present state.
Yeah, yeah, I've actually heard about something like that. I think there's a few companies that offer that type of service where you actually pay beforehand, and I think there's different types of servers. Don't get me wrong, I'm not no expert on it, but from what I've seen or read, that these companies they either like freeze the body when it's like just right after decease, when the body's deceased. They freeze it. I think it's like liquid nitrogen. But again, there's no really set plan of what they're gonna do. I think these companies are like kind of like a bank. They're like saving these the bodies, and then the plan is for when whatever the future holds, whatever technology comes up in the future, that they're gonna I guess bring back to life these bodies. But then there's also the fact of what Sagun mentioned, that freeze the brain. I think they're trying to what they do is in the future they're probably going to incorporate some of the brain into like a in like an AI or like cybernetics, kind of like a half human half robot, and bring back those memories. I mean, I've even heard of people saying that they're gonna store the brain and then try to bring it into the digital world, kind of like I mean, what's going on right now with like the metaverse and whatnot. So there's pretty interesting topics of what these companies are trying to pursue and what they're thinking of the future is going to hold.
Okay. Well, my opinion on like being a robot, that is like, I don't know. You guys see the movie RoboCop, where the
Yeah.
guy wakes up a
Yeah,
half bi- bionic robot or something like that? I
Yep.
mean, I'm, I mean, that thought process of being half robot, definitely. I don't like that, because I mean, at the end of the day, the most advanced thing is the human body, because you feel, you taste. If you're like half robot, how are you gonna be able to taste and experience things?
Yeah,
I
what if
mean,
you break down?
it's
What if
it's
part of
right,
your
right.
body breaks down,
it's
it
yeah.
doesn't work?
And I also, like, you're a robot. I don't know. What if your battery dies, or hypothetically, like, It's just that I think like that's a very depressing thought to think of. I'd rather
Yeah,
die.
not to cut you off. You definitely make a good point on that. It's just what I read. I think it's just for. I mean, these are just theories that they're coming up with. There's nothing solid in plan. I think they're just, they're just trying to preserve right now like some of the vital organs or bodies. So for when people do come in the future, I mean, when technology does come up in the future, that if they're able to bring back these organs back to life, or the preserved organs, transfer them to like another body or like a cybernetics. I think people, like I said, people uh, they just want to see what the future is going to hold. So I think they don't really have like a set plan. They're just trying to go with the flow and see what the future is going to hold for them.
You know what's interesting? There's one story. I don't know if it's like it's a religious script or something. I believe there was a couple of like fellow people running away from the Romans, and then they went inside a cave, and then they woken up like 200 years later. Apparently, it's like I'm not sure. Maybe Franz, you heard about it, but there's actually a story. I could look it up in a few seconds, but I know there were that scenario and it was foretold in the story. But you know what? I have an interesting question to ask you guys. So, for example, if you were to live for whatever you want to live, how long would you want to live? And the second question is, what would you want to study? And then, like, what would you want to experience now that you know that you could live for so long? Would you like dedicate your whole life to the degree you studied, like for example like computer science or finance, and then you'd be finance for I don't know 500 years, or would you be like, oh, I'm going to taste this or taste that?
No, I would live for forever. For me, that's my personal opinion, because I want to learn as much as possible. I want to do. If it was me, I would do like 100 majors. Like I'm just that kind of guy that I want to learn everything. So if I become immortal, I can get those different experiences that maybe I wouldn't be able to get if I wasn't immortal.
You wouldn't be in a cube, right, working in a company. You'll be
Oh,
outside.
no, no, no. I would never be in a cube. I think one thing is, if I was immortal, I would try out different things. So maybe I would be an actor, be like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and be the Terminator,
Would you fight
So
in battles?
yeah, I would fight in the battles too. I mean, because I wouldn't be scared that I would have to die in the battles itself, because you're basically, you can live forever. Like nothing can happen to you, right? So I would try every single experience that I can, because it's physically impossible right now as humans that we
Well,
can try
hold
out
on.
all
Let
these
me ask you. Are we talking about like immortality, as in the fact that like you're like basically bulletproof? Like if you fall off like a 200-foot skyscraper or like a
Oh yeah,
thousand
yeah,
foot
for sure, for
skyscraper,
sure.
then you wouldn't die? Or are we talking about like you have the ability to live forever, but if someone shoots you, you're dead?
Oh, no, no, no. For me, what I was saying is, due to all the future, I guess the processes, everything, your body would just regenerate. So
I
you would have
see.
that point where you have cells in your body where even if you fall down a building, poof,
Yeah,
you
I have a
still
better question. This will be more interesting. Let's say you do live forever, right? But every time you die, you're born as a baby again, and then but you remember, but you like all the memories still in you. Like even when you're a baby, you know everything. Then you can't speak, obviously, until you hit the age of 3. But yeah, you still have like the psychology of a 3-year-old. Like you want ice cream, you want milk, and you know where you want everything. But then your memory is still there. Would you rather have that where you're like always in a different body, or would you rather be in the same body and live forever?
Honestly, I mean, I think it really depends. I mean, also if we're talking about like, is your body going to stay the same? Like, do you age until a certain point and then your body's going to stay the same? I mean, honestly, for me, just to answer your previous question, while it seems cool and all, I don't think immortality would be for me, just because I feel like after a certain amount of time, I feel like you'd probably get bored. You'd probably be able to do everything you can in the world. And then I think everything would just like, you'd have your fun and giggles. And then at that point, you'd reach a certain limit and you'd probably be like, all right, well, I'm kind of done with. I mean, we as humans, we always strive for something more, for something different. So I feel like, if you were to live for like a million years, like what are you gonna do? I mean, there's some people. I mean, I understand 100 years is short, but like if you're gonna live forever, I mean, what could you possibly do more? Because if you're stuck on one planet and you start doing travel, and you start experiencing different cultures, different food, you start skydiving, doing this, doing that, you experience everything. I mean, at a certain time, you're gonna do everything twice over. What is there to do afterwards?
I'll
yeah,
tell you
this
what. You're gonna have a lot of wives, a lot of babies. You'll definitely populate the planet, but it won't do.
No, for sure, for sure. I mean, you're basically your last name is gonna be filled over the whole planet. So
You'll
that's
put Genghis Khan in his pockets.
yeah, basically,
I
basically.
mean, in my opinion, like, yeah, it would probably be cool if we lived up to like maybe like 1,000 years because I mean, you'd be able to experience a lot more in technically 10 lifetimes. But I feel like personally, for me, living forever would probably not be my ideal situation. I like the more the fact of how Arrow stated earlier, developing some sort of like anti aging or like technology where when you start getting older, you're not becoming so brittle and so weak and so frail. You're still having that youthful mentality and youthful physique.
One more
That would
question.
be
One more
for me.
question. I know Sagun. I'll let you speak after this, but this is actually a really cool question. Would you rather get $1 trillion right now or 1,000 years of life?
I would probably get $1 trillion. I know I'm contradicting myself, right? But
No way.
But
That's
you can't
major
extend your
contradiction.
life, so that's the another condition I forgot to mention.
so
That you
so
can't
you
say
can't
you're gonna
extend
use
your
money to
lifespan.
extend your life.
So you would be living for how many years then? You would say.
Typical 75,
100
80 years, knowing that you're gonna get osteoporosis and gonna be in a wheelchair at a certain point in time.
Oh, that's a really good question. I mean, no amount of the thing is money does help, right? I mean, money like right now if you have the money, you can get the cars, you can get the houses, you can have all the nice experiences that you want. But in terms of aging itself, I mean, you will live 1,000 years, so you're guaranteed to have 1,000 years itself. So that is a hard question, but personally, I would say money, but it is a really really hard question.
I'll
That
tell you
it's a good
what, I would take the 1,000 years because my philosophy is always time over money, not money over time. Money can always come, but time can never come. So in that scenario, if you live 1,000 years, my friend, let me tell you, 1,000 years you will make money. So I
Yeah,
think
I
if you were smart, you should choose the 1,000 years.
I would
but
I would agree with Arrow. I would do the 1,000 years just because at the end of the day, if you have $1 billion or $1 trillion, I'm pretty sure you're gonna live a very comfortable life. So, and I'm assuming, I'm pretty sure for the most part, if you were to live 1,000 years, you would accumulate a decent amount of money. If you're financially correct with your money and whatnot,
yeah,
you'd make enough money to sustain a very well life and have enough more money to pursue other passions within that time frame. So I think I would choose myself also the 1,000 years because at the
yeah,
end of the day.
but the thing is, sorry to cut you off, but let's say you have to go through that 1,000 years, right? You have to
Mhm.
go through all that emotional trauma. Do you think your brain can handle that over
I
that thousand
mean,
years?
there's always emotional trauma. I mean, we're humans. There's always emotional and trauma everywhere, no matter
But
what.
over
No matter if
over
you
a
live a
long
hundred
period
or
of
a
time.
thousand years.
But over that long period of time when you have to go through all those different events, right? And
I
let's
mean,
say
What?
I,
Sorry, I think Sagun. What I think is when you live that long, you see, time makes you more wise. So the older you get, the more wisdom you get. So I think small things wouldn't hurt you like nowadays, right? Like, oh, that girl threw a sandal at me. You're gonna talk about her for 2 days, for example. When you're 1,000 of 200, 300 years, you're gonna be like, this is small speck of dust. You're gonna think of bigger picture, and when you think of a bigger picture, trust me, you're gonna surround yourself with people who think bigger. And when you surround yourself with people who think bigger, you're gonna get the money and the and you have the life. So I don't know. I don't even think your goal will even be money at that point. You want to be powerful.
you
Once you taste money, once money the taste is over, the next level is power.
That no, no, that is a good point as well. I mean, that's why you pose this question. It's like I guess some people have that kind of different sides to it as well. So I was just gonna add one more thing. I don't know if you guys saw the movie like Groundhog Day. So that's kind of relates to what we're talking about right now, where you basically have a character, and the character goes through the same day over and over again. But the same day he tries to do many different things, right? To make sure that he can learn all these different skills. Would you guys like be open to doing that, or would you guys not? Like you basically have that same routine. So you wake up and then you do all this, and then the next day happens again. It's similar to the baby. I mean, I wouldn't say the baby situation because that's more of a long term, but I wanted to see your guys' thoughts on that.
I
Okay,
mean, no,
first,
no. Wait. You're saying you're actually. I've never seen this movie, so this is like you're
Oh,
saying.
this is your.
Wait,
Oh, you have
you know that you're doing the
classic.
same repetitive thing every day, and you're aware of that, or you're unaware of it.
You are aware of that. So this is a really classic movie, Franz. 100% recommend this after after this podcast. But it so basically every single day you live through it, but the next day you just wake up and then you just remember it and you're like like
And
you do the same thing.
and then do the same thing, right? Is that correct?
I mean, the thing is, you have a choice not to do the same thing, but the events occur in a way that it's similar.
Ah, I see.
You
I'll
know what
tell
I
you
mean?
right now. I'm gonna off myself. So there you go.
that's deja vu, Sagun. That's not even living immortal. That's literally you being in a cell confinement, looking at the wall. I'd rather look at the wall at that point.
Yeah, but it does tie with immortality kind of thing
Yeah.
because
Well,
you're still like, I mean, your body is still there, right? But
okay.
the next day, I mean, you let's say in this movie, like you just wake up right in your bed. The next, like, let's say you get hit by something, right?
So
Next
you're
day,
saying you got killed and you woke up.
yeah,
And then
basically,
you repeat the day again.
yeah,
So it's like
you
the Matrix. Okay, I see what you're saying.
yeah,
Uh,
kind of like the Matrix, but this movie does a really good job in that.
yeah,
So.
yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what, man. If every day is the same, you're gonna get bored, and obviously, Franz, like you mentioned, you're gonna off yourself. But Franz, I'll be a little bit better with it. If there's a battle, I'd rather join the battleground. I mean, at least I'll see every corner of the battle and see who's like shot, and I'll probably die, but at least at the end of the
What's
day,
up with you in battles? You keep on talking battles like you live in like the
listen, bro.
1500s, as
Let me
everyone's
tell you.
fighting with
Okay.
bow and arrow.
Let me tell you, man. I played a lot of Halo, a lot of Gears of War. Not saying, but it's just like I'm very like into movies with action. I enjoy it. It's very thriller. So I'm not saying I'll go into battle, but yeah, you can think about it. If you're gonna every day you're just repeating it, you know you're not gonna die. I mean, obviously you're gonna be in a battle. You're gonna eventually go into battle. You just like it's just bound to happen. But more importantly, Sagun, about that question about the quadrillionaire and the 1,000 years, let me tell you one thing. As I mentioned in the beginning of our this episode, the Emperor Chen had all the money in the world, had all the girls in the world, and that time in his little empire, and obviously had a lot of influence. But the only thing he did not have was life. So if hypothetically someone went to him and said, "Yo, there is a question, but there's a sacrifice. Would you give up your title as emperor and all your wealth for 1,000 extra years?" What do you think he would do?
I'm sure
Um,
you probably took the years instead of the money.
Yeah, now I mean now that you guys do say it, right? I mean it is the I guess the first reaction of someone would be like when they see the money, right? They would be like, "Oh, you know what? Let me take the money," because they hear that number, right? They hear that 1,000 years. I mean, no, sorry, not 1,000 years, like
The
trillion
$1
dollars.
dollars,
Or
yeah.
what? Yeah, yeah. What Arrow said, right? So they would probably take it because they want that instant gratification. They want that
Yeah,
thing
I think it's
because
just
they're not
because
in that position.
because we're able we get I mean we as humans right now we're making money and whatnot. It seems so easily accessible. So when Arrow asked the question, would you have $1 trillion or 1,000 years? Probably just thought, oh, I could just the $1 trillion is more feasible than 1,000 years. But I mean, I personally would take the 1,000 years just because, like I said, you have more time, and with that time, you can do a lot more things. And within that time, you're gonna make money either way. So like I said, it might not be $1 trillion, but I'm sure you're going to make enough to live a comfortable life and do what you want. So, um, just to connect back really quick, I'm not sure if you guys seen the movie in 1997 with Ethan Hawke. The film was called, I think it was called like Gattaca. You guys recall that
No,
movie?
I have not seen that. Just like how
Basically,
you haven't seen Groundhog Day, so
yeah, there you go. So we have a connection right there. So basically, the movie, I don't remember too well. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I know the basic theme of the movie was that the humans started to create like biohack, like gene therapy or whatever it's called, gene programming, basically. So before you're born, they would take off all the pre-existing conditions when you're born, any diseases and whatnot, and you basically live like a healthy life. So I think that like for me, like again, like I said before, immortality would not be my answer, but I think that the gene programming would be a great thing because to be born without any medical conditions and to live a healthy and long life would be probably the most ideal thing for me. I mean, again, like I said, if it was extended by a couple extra 100 years, yeah, that'd be cool. But I think if you're gonna be living forever, it would not seem like a feasible idea for me. But again, like I said, that's just my opinion. And I know some people, at the end of the day, some people agree, some people disagree. But you know, what I mean, that's the
Exactly.
world we
That's
live
why
in.
we have these debates because we want to see both sides and both perspectives. So, yep.
Beautiful, beautiful. Arrow, do you have anything else that you wanted to add today, or you pretty much shared your whole
No,
story of
I know
fighting
this.
in the
No,
battlegrounds?
no. So I know this topic is really interesting. We might have to carry this for a chapter, another follow up episode. But you carry the torch for now.
Awesome, awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, I have pretty much nothing else to say. I mean, like we discussed, I mean, there's some developing technologies, nothing really set in stone of people trying to preserve their brains, some vital organs in their body to see what the future might hold for them. But at the end of the day, really, we don't know. You know, at the end of the day, everyone has an expiration date. We're all going to meet our demise, and you know that's just the way life goes. But awesome, that was a great discussion, fellas. I hope the audience enjoyed the conversation we had today. So please make sure to comment, like, rate, and subscribe for more episodes to come. And guys, while you're at it, let us know what you'd like to hear for future episodes and what other topics intrigue you. Okay. So until next time, take care, everyone.